Despite the desires of my heart, this winter will most likely be my last here in the West. So I'm making an effort to experience as much as possible, even through the missteps. I followed my heart here, to the land of my ancestors, hoping to find a home. Instead, I found healing. The rivers nourished my soul, my breath caught in the mountains, and the sea reminded me of nature's power, pulling me away from comfort and putting me back in my place. I've been gifted so many learnings from this land, both of nature and of myself. I found peace in who I am and excitement to discover who I will become. It's been such a gift getting to call this beautiful land home. And though I will soon say goodbye, I'll never forget my time here and the stories that have shaped my soul. Almost 2 months ago, I started an experiment with these two oils to kind of see which one I liked better. This one is jojoba and here is olive oil. I wanted to see how they infuse differently. I know jojoba works really nicely for working into the skin, and olive oil remains pretty oily, but I've really trusted this one for a long time. And I'm just curious, so it's finally time to strain them and start doing some experiments. Here they are all strained. The olive oil is holding a little bit more scent of the mint right now than the jojoba, but we'll see how experiments go with them. I think I'm just gonna let them be for a bit and do some different crafts with them in the time to come. The days are getting longer now. Each day is slightly brighter, a subtle reminder of the closing months of cold. Soon the earth will reawaken, and with it so much change will come. But there's still quite a few weeks ahead, and plenty to get done in the meantime. Now just to wait till this gets up to temperature. I'm working on making a rosemary tea in my brand new copper pot. I've been making this tea for a couple of months now. It's good for your hair, and as I'm trying to grow it out very slowly, I just want it to be healthier this time. But anyways, that is not an exciting conversation topic. Last night I signed a contract to have some new living arrangements come June, and I will be moving to the Northeast then. I think sometime in the spring I'll head back to Virginia for a minute just to kind of touch base, get reacquainted, and move forward. I don't really get to spend the summers in the cabin here because that's when my grandma lives here, and so I have a little bit of a weird limbo space that I have to figure out, but I feel good. I finally have a path forward. The last handful of months here has been kind of just up in the air for me. I ultimately came to the conclusion this spring that, or this fall, excuse me, that the West wasn't going to be quite it for me forever. I have been really happy with living here, and it has given me so many wonderful, beautiful experiences, and I feel like I've been able to grow in a way that I never would have had I not lived here. But I would like to be a little bit closer to my family, and ultimately it is very expensive to live out here on this side of the world, and I would prefer to live somewhere that is just a bit more affordable. And of course there are a handful of other reasons ultimately, but those are the big ones that are easy to point out and discuss in this moment. But the last handful of months I've been trying to figure out what my plans are and what I was going to do come spring and summer. I didn't really know where I wanted to go next, and I've been just kind of trying to figure it out. I've been doing some research on the northern states out east. I haven't really spent a lot of time out there, and ultimately I've kind of just realized that I need to just go and experience them and see what it's really like living there, instead of just trying to figure something out from this far away. It takes a 4-day drive to get there, and it's not something I can just pop over and look at to experience. So come June, I will be spending a month up north in a very cute little converted barn where I'll be able to explore and see things and hopefully find a place that feels a little bit more right out there. I don't really know my plans beyond that 1 month that I have. Ideally, I'd like to find a more long-term rental and or property, but it feels good to have a step on that way. I've been feeling really stuck lately, and I'm just looking and ready for that next step. I tend to be somebody who's very impulsive, and it's hard for me to sit still and not just go for things, and that's really what brought me out here. I was feeling really stuck in Virginia and just needed a change, and so on a whim I left, and it was one of the best decisions of my life. But now that I have 2 dogs, they need a little bit more planning and stability than I do, and it just makes more sense to wait and go when it makes more sense, especially because I can't get over the passes right now. So even if I wanted to drive east, it would be quite the snowy endeavor. Besides, this gives me some time to plan and finish up some really big projects that I have in the works. I also had a meeting the other day talking about some opportunities that I can't discuss yet, but I'm very excited about them, and it kind of overlaps with another big project I'm working on right now. So I have 2 really big, intense projects in the works that are both coming to a big deadline in February, and so that's going to be exciting and very busy, but I am looking forward to it. I like staying busy, especially in the winter months. I'm getting to that point where I'm kind of ready for the next thing. Here on the island, we don't really get that much snow, and I have always kind of equated snow to winter, and not having it makes this winter time feel like just an extended fall or early spring. And it doesn't really seem like an appropriate amount of time has passed, and especially now because we've had a couple of really comfortable days here in the 40s and 50s even, or maybe they've only really been in the high 40s, but it feels really comfortable outside, and I've been able to go out in just flannel and jeans, and that to me is early spring weather, and I just, that little shift has triggered in my brain, I know there's still a lot of cold ahead and it's going to be pretty chilly here on and off, but I'm just ready for that next spark of life. I think I need to go into the mountains and see some snow and just remind myself that it's still some time. I think that's the hardest part about adjusting to a new place is understanding how to tell time differently. I've always understood time in the passage of a year through really distinct seasons, and they just aren't as distinct out here, especially on the western side of Washington. It stays pretty green most of the year and there isn't a lot of snow, and so it's just not as clear to my brain. But beyond not really being able to tell the passage of time properly for myself, it's been interesting to experience that. Plus it gets way darker here than it does in Virginia, so the really short days are something to get used to. I don't know if I ever really will, but I do enjoy it. It really forces me to slow down and just spend some time in the day for myself, and I think that's really valuable. But anyhow, this is starting to get warmed up, so back to it then. With so many changes and busyness ahead, it's been important to me to find ways to slow down. Taking the time to craft something useful from what I have around, or spending a free moment completing practices close to my heart. Now just to let this cool. I'm making sure to spend each moment I can in the places I love most here. Before it's time to move on to my next great adventure.